Titanic!
He's wrong. It wasn't just the Titanic. There were other incidences where women and children first was used. Some successful, some not. We're going to explore this nautical phenomenon. I'm Brian Pilchard, and I love history. Using my skills in effects, clothes, and disguises, I'm going to take you on a journey back in time for an adventure in super history! History! Women and Children First is known as a form of maritime chivalry, where the women and children are evacuated from the ship first. But where did it come from? And was it widespread? According to Wikipedia, the first known published account of women and children first was in May 1840 on an American packet ship. It was covered by J.H. Buckingham, a passenger and journalist. The ship was struck by lightning and caught fire. It was suggested to take care of the women and children first in the lifeboats, and for the men to stay and fight the fire. The account was published in the Times and the Boston Courier. 12 years later, Women and Children First got some major coverage. The Birkenhead disaster was an extreme incident where Women and Children First was applied successfully, even to the point that it is known, to a lesser extent, as the Birkenhead drill. The HMS Birkenhead was a troop ship and was carrying soldiers and some families. The disaster happened on the 26th of February 1852. At 2 a.m, the HMS Birkenhead ran into my head. The vessel was travelling at about 15 kilometres per hour. The collision made a big hole in the ship's metal structure below the waterline. To make things worse, the captain ordered the ship into reverse, making the hole bigger. There were families on board the ship, and they were put into the small number of lifeboats. The troops that weren't organising the families or working the pumps were paraded on deck. As the lifeboats left, the captain of the ship gave the order, every man for himself, but the soldiers waited for their commanding officer's orders. Lieutenant Girardo of the 43rd Light Infantry and Captain Wright of the 91st pointed out that the already overloaded boats would capsize if they swam out and tried to board them, so they asked them to stay where they were. The soldiers didn't move as the ship sank under them. At least we were a part of a good cause. We're on our way to the closer war. We're not doing much good there. The soldiers that didn't drown had to swim through shark-infested water. 638 were on board. 454 were drowned. But all the women and children were saved. 7 women, 13 children. They built a lighthouse at Danger Point to avoid having other ships hit me in the head. The most popular example of Women and Children First being used was the sinking of the RMS Titanic. The Titanic hit me at 11:40 p.m. It hit me at about 38 kilometres per hour on her starboard side. The collision caused a series of indentations along her hull. Unfortunately, too many compartments were flooded, and it sunk. The order was women and children first into the lifeboats, but if there was any room left, the men could go in too. Sir, you can go on the boat if you like. Really? There's room? Thanks! Coward! However, in some instances, lifeboats were launched with spaces left. In some cases, men just weren't allowed. Unfortunately for women and children, the successful application of the Women and Children First drill was rare. According to a study by Michael Ellender and Oscar Eriksson in 2012, out of 18 maritime disasters, the drill wasn't always used, and when it was, sometimes wasn't listened to, or circumstances didn't permit. According to the study, out of the 18 disasters, women and children were the least likely to survive. The people in the best position to survive were the ship's crew. They were needed to man the lifeboats and were trained in emergency drills. Another factor that could be considered for the poor survival rate of women was the fashion. Good luck swimming in that. Lifeboats were another factor. There were never enough, and in the case where the ship has been wrecked or sunk due to poor weather, what chance did these smaller boats have? And the crew members didn't always help. In some cases, like the SS Sirio, the crew abandoned ship immediately.
See you later, suckers!
In the case of the Birkenhead and the Titanic, there was a common factor. Women and children first? What kind of an idea is that? It's a great idea! The men were threatened with violence if they didn't comply. The threat of violence during the Women and Children First drill also appears in a novel published in 1860, written by William Douglas O'Connor and named Harrington, A Story of True Love.
Back from the boats. First man that touches a boat, I'll brain. Women and children first, men.
That's probably unfair. So if you're in a historic maritime disaster and someone isn't pointing a gun at you, get out of me way, old woman! It's less likely to be women and children first, and instead, every man for himself. There you have it. Women and children first. Can we turn that off? No? Oh, look, I better do it anyway. Thanks for watching this far, and if you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And for all of you who are patrons, thank you for helping us produce these videos. I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but I think they're getting better with each one. Thank you.